Hello, it's me. Yeah, I wanted to come in and, as you can see, I'm in sadness, and I wanted to come in and share what's going on so that I've got a record for this time next year maybe, and also to be witnessed and in what I consider to be a safe place, which is strangely Facebook community, although it feels risky, and for many reasons. What am I noticing? That last year was a big year for me, a massive year when I look back, in as much that I moved house, and that triggered a sort of like a deep emotional response in me, not feeling safe, all those big existential questions that I get, and then this opportunity to see my three daughters, which I haven't seen, to speak to and to be with for a number of years, and so seeing an opportunity to see them at a family event, and that, I think, stirred up a lot of stuff in me that I didn't realise was being stirred up. And then on Tuesday this week, I had a treatment with a kind of sort of healer, osteopath, somatic, intuitive person. It's the second session that I've had, and we were exploring this sort of feeling of that I get, the palpitations and sort of a strange, odd feeling in my chest area, which is fine. It's not a health condition. It's anxiety and a bit of depression, I think, thrown in, and unexpressed feelings trying to get out of me. And just tipping my head back was a release of some sort in there. And then so yesterday was a bit off, I was a bit flat, and then today I had a shower this morning and felt all this, and I'm doing self-love courses at the moment, so that was work yesterday, and I was admiring myself of being still able to engage and participate, and yet underneath there's this sort of sorrow and emotion that's with me that I'm telling myself I'm not dealing with it, and I guess I am, like being on here. And so there's this, yesterday I cried for the first time for a long time, because in between me delivering self-love courses, I was on this course that I'm doing, a year long, called The Final Year, and we were invited to explore what if, I only had till March to live, what would be the unfinished business. So it really tipped me into looking at what my unfinished business with, and of course it's with my daughters. Of course it's that. And then I was starting to reflect on the space that I hold for other parents whose children have exited out of their lives, and how now I consider myself to be somewhat of I can't say expert. I've got a lot of wisdom, both in terms of my own experience of 18 years of this, and also other people's experiences, and how it's strangely similar and strangely different for all of us, and the walk that we do together in my group is one of love and support, and exploring how we can deal with it without our adult sons and daughters participating in that in any way. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but taking responsibility for how we deal with this, and it's tough. it's really tough, and at times it's tougher still. You know, and I'm a Yorkshire lass, and I was raised on a farm, and I was quite tough and quite competent, and you lost me for a minute there, didn't you? Stoic and resilient, and in some ways that served me, and in other ways it hasn't, because it's like I don't quite know how to process feelings very well, or I didn't. I'm better at it now, and you know, this year I have a lot of sadness in me today. You know, you can see it and hear it, can't you? And you know, at one time I used to hide it, and I got so used to hiding it that it just became the norm, really. And I think now I'm getting better at being able to process it, and it's tiring work, is grief, and you know, like, it's a long time to carry. And I'm now thinking that, you know, any type of grief comes and visits again. You know, there's always that another layer. So it's not like I'll end grieving one day around this, because it's tied in with other losses and stuff, and just one of the facts of getting older, that things go, including teeth and all that sort of stuff. Not that my teeth have gone yet, and it's just, you know, that fact of life that things start to change and we lose things, and you know, with estrangement, there's so many other. It's like there's the first loss, and then there's all the other little losses that are big. You know, there's stuff that all of us who experience this have to overcome. You know, people get married, people have babies, you know, and it's another bereavement. It just is, you know, the loss of what you had expected. And I was talking to Stephen in the car this morning and saying that there's been another sort of let go and loss this year, with seeing them, hearing what one of my daughters said to me, you know, like, leave me alone. This is after 18 years. I don't want you, I don't need you. You know, hearing that, having that spoken to me, you know, and realising yet again that I am where I am, they are where they are. And that was in November, and it's like now in January I'm starting to unpack it. You know, it's like at the time I can cope, but then a few days, weeks, months on, it's like that needs to sort of like emerge from me. And you know, and I'm remembering what one daughter said to me. Another daughter said to me that we had a conversation a couple of years ago, and I heard her say to me that, you know, I can't think of anything that I've done that you'd be hurt by, Mum. And at the time that didn't really register, but then afterwards I thought, wow, she's not even started to unpack anything that, you know, it's like she hasn't even realised that any of those things that she's done or said I haven't felt hurt by. And it's that stoicism of a Yorkshire farmer's lass that I think hasn't served me, because I haven't been great at saying when I felt hurt by anything. And this healer practitioner was exploring with me, you know, to start to tell my truth in the moment, which is, you know, I don't feel comfortable right now, you know, in conversations when I just stay quiet instead of saying that's not landed with me very well or whatever. You know, just exploring how to express myself and how to be okay. I'm okay being sad, that's the thing, because I just think it's part of nature, part of my nature, part of being human. And I'm sad that I don't have my family in my life. I'm sad that I don't, and sometimes it doesn't get me like this, and other times it gets me absolutely viscerally in every fibre in my being. It gets to me. And then other times, you know, it's like water off a duck's back. And I'm thinking I'm getting the balance right. I'm not sure. I think I ought to cry more. I think I ought to have more of this emotional release. I seem to be one that packs it away and then it comes out in a big lump rather than little and often. And, you know, I think little and often is good. It's not that I consciously shy away from the pain of it. It's just that something in me has trained, my training is to sort of like park it, you know, park the feeling, and then it emerges later, which is maybe fine. It's maybe just the way that I do it, and now I've got more of a sense of that. Maybe that's useful. But right now I'm right in the sort of the grief and loss of and it's a double whammy for mothers, maybe for fathers too. It's a double whammy because I'm sad for me, and I'm also sad for them because, you know, I'm sad for them because what a thing to choose to do, and to be whatever in upset or anger around that, and I'm sure they don't think of me every day because I don't think of them every day. And yet I suspect that when we do think of each other, you know, it hurts. And for me it's sadness and loss. And I don't really know. I've never been so angry with somebody or so upset with somebody that that's not strictly true. That's not strictly true. I have distanced myself from people, and it felt right to do so, and yet it's always like this little thing that there's something to do, you know, there's some work to be done around getting back into communication. So yeah, so that isn't strictly true. So if they're feeling like that, I don't know. If it feels good to share it, and I can see that people are on, and I can see little things going up, and you know, it's like it's kind of sitting in circle, you know. I was witnessed yesterday in my tears and sadness, and you know, crying on screen is a bit odd, isn't it? And in a way it's safe because there isn't any instant feedback, you know. I can't see people's faces. I can't see whether people are, oh, here she goes again, or all those different responses that we get, you know, like somebody wanting to rescue me, and there's something about just being witnessed with space holding by the other person, that they're not at the effects of me being like this. You know, and Stephen's great at doing that. I was saying to him today that he's one of a few people who just give me the space to be me, however that is. And I kind of find that quite amazing that he's like that. So, you know, I've kind of welcomed this today because it's been absent for a long time, and I was wondering when it would arrive, and I'm feeding it lovingly with thoughts of my girls, you know. I'm back. Signal must have blipped out, so I've moved, and yeah, I think somebody don't want me to do this. I was thinking on how I've forgotten. I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, feeding my sorrow, just gently thinking of my girls, and in all the different ways that I can think of them, and memories, all the lovely stuff and all the not so lovely stuff, and can imagine, you know, sometimes I catch sight of myself in the mirror and I look like them. As I'm walking by, you know, I look like them, or they look like me. And if this isn't your experience, you know, and somebody ever says to you that they've got sons and daughters who don't speak to them, I think it can be quite shocking if you're another parent, and an automatic response is, what did you do? And that sentence is probably one of the most hurtful for a parent to hear, because you know yourself, if you're a parent, there's some level of concern, worry, guilt that we don't do it right, that we didn't get it right, that we somehow screwed our kids up or whatever, you know, it's our fault that they're like they are. And that can take some letting go of, and actually when they become of an age, whatever that is, they're totally responsible for what comes out their mouths and how they behave, and you know, how they choose to be in their life. And so it's an easy thing that we do to blame ourselves, and you know, and they, you know, my daughters are fully fledged adult women and have total responsibility for how they choose what they choose, and yet I'm still sad for them, because like I say, what a choice to make. And yeah, there's a huge sense of loss for me and my grandchildren, and sometimes I really feel it, and that's where I'm at today. And I'm okay. Another reason I've come on is to, so many of us, me included, are scared of feelings, and those feelings feel overwhelming at times, and honestly they lay us up in bed, they incapacitate, you know, the feelings of grief incapacitate, and in a way so they should, because our body is in whatever process it's in around grief, shock, denial. It's like we've lost something, and yeah, it just brings everything up. It impacts on every other part of our life, every other part. There's no part of that isn't affected. Thank you for listening. I'm going to leave it there, and yeah. And sunny Sunday. Sometimes when I'm sad like this, people get cross. I think another part of my story, because I think for some people they feel helpless, and that then makes people cross. You know, when you see sadness and wanting to fix, wanting to help, wanting to. And along the years, I did say I was going, and I haven't, have I? Along the years, what I've learned is that just to be witnessed, just for somebody, and a little bit of validation, saying that sounds really tough, and that must be awfully difficult to handle, and that sort of stuff. But in the main, it's just having somebody who can hold the space around me whilst I'm like this. Okay, I love you lots. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening.